Welcome to Pencils and Lipstick. This is a podcast for indie authors. I'm Kat Caldwell, novelist, short story writer, and book coach. Here on Pencils and Lipstick, we're obsessed with all things story, and it is my goal to bring you the writing tips that you need to make your novel come to life. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Pencils and Lipstick. Today, we are at episode 316 of the podcast, and I have an interview for you. I have pretty much interviews for the rest of the season. We'll be taking a break mid-July. So the next few weeks, we have quite a few interviews for you that I'm excited for you to hear. Everyone is very different. They all write very different things. They all have different experiences. And I think that it's going to be really good. Any place that you are in your writing life, you'll probably find someone in the next couple of weeks who's doing the same thing or struggling with the same thing or looking for the answer to the same thing. So I think together we can keep moving forward in summer. If you missed last week, Becky and I were talking about kind of the three things that you could do this summer to maintain your marketing or to start your marketing or to up your marketing, honestly. So it kind of depends on where you are and what level you're going to take. But I would highly recommend you go back and listen to 315, the Craft and Connect, where we are trying to make it really simple and keep it really easy for summer. Whether you are using it for social media or newsletter, doesn't really matter. The exercise that Becky breaks down in the interview is gold. And do not forget that Becky is going to start her marketing cohort. And you know, Becky works with romance writers. And that will be starting in August. So if you're interested in that, you just want more information, not all the information is available yet, but you're going to need to get on her mailing list so that you will be the first to find out because she's only opening 6 spots. So be sure to do that. I think it will be an amazing experience for a lot of you, for all of you. And I'm sure that you will see a difference in your marketing. If you don't know, today is June 22nd as this goes out. And the Book Finisher Summit, hosted by Rhonda Douglas, starts this Thursday, the 25th. My talk is not until Monday, so you have a lot of time to join before I talk. But there are so many good speakers this year. All of the videos release at 8 a.m. So you don't have to sort of wait. You don't have to be around for that 2 p.m. Talk that you want to hear. So right at 8 a.m. you could binge them or you could just watch the one that you want to see. So again, mine about comp titles and keywords will be published 8 a.m. Eastern time on the 29th. There are so many, though, people who are speaking. It's just amazing. Like Bailey Lang, Tracy Skews, Rami Summer, Gabriela Pereira, Talia Stone. There's so many people. Stacy Juba, Karen Fisher, Anna Deval. You're just going to have a lot of people helping you both in the writing and in the publishing. So I would highly recommend you get to this. I mean, you sign up for free and it works like every other summit. You sign up for free. You have to watch the videos that day. If you want to be able to watch them later, you pay the, I don't know, whatever it is. So it's just like every other summit. It's how everything works. But I have the links in the show notes below. It is an affiliate link. You do not pay any more, but I do get a percentage of it because I'm speaking in it. Speakers don't get paid, so we get paid through affiliates. So that is the biggest news that's happening. Yeah, I am just plugging forward on trying to, intelligently promote my books. I am actually giving the Bended Duet a makeover. I like the covers, but that doesn't mean anything. If the covers are not selling your book, you have to go back to the drawing board, right? So those, if you're on the YouTube, those are the covers back there, those kind of green covers. So I will be changing them. I do see a lot of people using more real life pictures. So I'm going that route. I'm trying to go that route. But it's quite difficult when you have a very limited budget and you will get slammed for using AI. All you have your reasons for that, whatever, but there's like witch hunts out there. So I'm not using any AI for any of it. And while I would really like a picture, there are just so many pictures out there, without getting actually a model and a photographer, which I cannot afford. So we're working on it. We're working on it. We'll see. I will let you guys know when the new one is ready to be shown. But yeah, it might not get my way, but we'll see. So yeah, we have the Book Finisher Summit. I will actually be part of another summit in August, but we'll talk about that later. If you are anywhere in Richmond, I am going to be at the SAS book signing on the 27th, and I'm going to be speaking at the Virginia Writers Symposium on August 1st. So if you're part of the Virginia Writers group, I highly recommend you come and hang out on the 1st. It's just one day. There's a lot of speakers there as well. It's actually a little unfortunate that there are speakers I want to hear while I will be speaking. So I don't know if there will be a recording or not, but it should be really fun. You'll get to meet and hang out with local writers. So that should be exciting. I will be giving my speech on how to create a story around the ghost that haunts you, because I think a lot of us have character ideas, and we can't quite find the story around them. But they are that thing that haunts us, and we want to write a book about, and then it's just really difficult. But I'm going to break it down and make it very easy for you to figure out what the story is. So definitely join me there. It should be a lot of fun. If you have any questions about the Book Finisher Summit, about the Virginia Writers Symposium, about SAS in Richmond, you can always go to my social media, DM me a question. If you're on my newsletter, all you have to do is hit reply, and it goes straight to my inbox. You ask me a question. So I highly encourage you to do that. We do have a lot of really exciting interviews coming up, and I have already gone ahead and scheduled them. We actually have JD Barker coming, and you'll listen to him at the end of August. But that being said, even though I'm ahead of schedule, if you or someone you know want to be on the podcast, please let me know. You have to have already 3 books published. That's kind of the norm. I think that gives you enough insight into the industry that you have something interesting to say. Please, pitch to me what you would like to chat about. It is a conversation. I do not make up questions for you. But if you have an expertise or you have an experience, it's usually pretty easy to chat about it. So let me know. You can always message me, again, hitting reply on my newsletter. You can always join my newsletter straight below and message me from the intro email if that's what you want. But you have to have 3 books already published. It doesn't actually matter if they're nonfiction or fiction. Okay. So if also you are liking the podcast, please give a little review wherever you listen. That's always helpful. I know most of you are listening on iTunes and Spotify, but there are a million apps that you can listen to, and I appreciate all of you who listen and put up with me. But a review would be great, whether it's just stars or you do write something that is wonderful. It helps other people find the podcast, and if you want to share it, I would love it. That would be wonderful. Yes, and we did say last week in the Craft and Connect, if you continue your marketing over the summer, please tag Becky and I. We would love to see what you're doing. Maybe give you some feedback. I would, or follow you. It would just be fun to support you in that endeavor as we all try to find our ideal reader and get our books out there, right? So that is about all I have to say today. Please check out the links below. Sign up for my newsletter, sign up for Becky's newsletter. You will constantly be getting, better updates that way. And let's get into the interview. This week we have Shimrit Haynes speaking with us. I had a really great time speaking with her. She is a sci-fi writer. She is older than middle age, I guess I can say. So she started later in life, which I think is really interesting and just encouraging out there to anybody who thinks, this is a young person's game. It's really not. You have a lot to say. I think actually you have so many more lived experiences as an older person, person over 50. So I would encourage you to keep writing and keep going and get your books out there. She also talks about her covers and how she had to learn a lot about the industry. And it can be frustrating as somebody who is not of the generations who grew up with internet and all of those things. But I think you'll find a lot of encouragement from Shimrit and how she's doing it, how she's plugging forward, and how her kids are helping her. And just be encouraged that, again, it has nothing to do with age. It has everything to do with what story you have to tell and how the world wants to hear that story. So, without further ado, let's get into the interview. All right, everybody. Today I am here with Shimrit Haynes. I am so excited to talk to you because you are a writer, a musician, a jewelry maker, all of the things. So, welcome to Pencils and Lipstick.
Thanks so much for having me. This is really fun. I'm looking forward to this.
Yes, I'm always fascinated by people who do a lot of creative things. I think most creative, like if you're a writer, most likely you're a creative person, right? And there's some sort of interest going on. But you have what came first for you? Was it jewelry? Was it music? Was it writing?
Actually, writing came first. I
Okay.
was a voracious reader as a kid. We'd go to do the summer library program, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd get my limit 10 books for the week, and I'd read all mine and all my sisters, by the end of the
Within a
week.
few days.
Yeah, yeah, I was a voracious reader. So I started writing stories and poetry when I was really young.
Oh, that's amazing. Where were
So,
you growing up?
uh, grade school years were mostly in Massachusetts, and then we made a big jump from Massachusetts to San Francisco.
Oh,
That was a
that's
big
quite,
change.
that is a big change. Well, I feel like Massachusetts in my head, and I'm not from there, that seems like a very like high educated reading is a pretty important, right? As
Yeah. The crazy
Harvard.
thing was when we went to San Francisco, all the books, they were the same books, but they had the grade lower printed on the backs.
Oh,
So they were a year behind Massachusetts.
oh, that's so bad. That's interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty crazy, you
Did they
know.
move you up a grade or did they keep you in the same grade?
No, they kept me in the same grade. They were all
Oh,
into the psychology and keep you with your age group. Matter of fact, that killed me in the third grade because I was younger than everybody else and I was really socially awkward.
yeah.
I probably am on the autism spectrum. I couldn't look people in the eye. I never made any friends. I didn't know how to talk to
Oh,
people. It was really hard, but I was actually in my own little bubble and I really didn't care. It wasn't really hard. It
right,
was all I knew.
right.
But
You thought that's how the world should be
they held
working.
me back in the third grade. I was reading at college level in the third grade,
What?
and they held me back because I wasn't socializing.
Oh, that sounds very Californian.
It wasn't. That was in Massachusetts.
Oh, that was in Massachusetts. Oh,
Yes.
goodness. Goodness. So things were happening then too. That's so
Yeah.
interesting when they think like what kids should be doing. But it is true. Like back when we were kids, there was no, unless you had like a physical showing of a disability, no one thought that your brain might work differently. They were just like, oh no, we must do
Yeah.
something for this child. I was happy to sit in my closet and read, honestly. And
Mm-hmm.
thankfully, my mother was happy to let me because she just wanted everyone to like leave her alone. And she's like, that's fine. Oh my goodness. And I don't think Wisconsin was up on the psychology. We'll just say
Massachusetts was very into it.
they're very into it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. So as you were writing, did you ever show anybody your writing or was that something that only you got to see?
Well, in school, of course, I'd turn in writing assignments. It wasn't until I got to high school that the teacher realized that, I had a gift and that, she'd give a book for the class to read and I'd be done with it by the next day. And
Yeah.
I'd say, what else you got?
Yeah.
So that teacher had a whole Ray Bradbury library in a back room, and I everybody else was going through one book, and I went through her whole Ray Bradbury
Went through
library
the whole thing. Oh my gosh. So you're
and wrote reports
fast.
on everything. So it's
You
just,
read and did reports on it.
mhm, yeah.
Look at you. Okay. Did you annotate?
My
Did you know?
grades weren't that high because I hated school. I felt like everything was dumb. And so I didn't try. I never did homework. It was like, meh. I just did the classwork and took the tests, and it was enough to keep me just above a C,
Oh my gosh, they
average.
probably should have moved you forward, not
But
backward.
yeah, but language arts, I always did really well in
That's so
English and
funny.
language arts and stuff because that I loved it.
This is
And
why, like, I really think that the measure of education, I don't know how else to do it, but it doesn't measure intelligence very well. You know
mm-mm.
what I mean? Like, it just doesn't, like, taking a test, if you're not good at tests, doesn't mean that you don't know the stuff. Honestly, sometimes better than the person who knows how to just BS their way through a test. Like
Yeah.
it's such an odd thing that we're trying to figure out how to measure whether they know the material or not. And it just doesn't seem to be working.
hmm
I don't know. That's another thing that we're not going to solve today. So,
No,
so
that's for a TED talk.
yeah, that's definitely somebody else needs to figure that out. So, when did you start in with music? Was that during high school?
I started playing guitar when I was probably around 10 years old.
Okay.
Um, my mom set me down with her guitar and taught me how to read a chord chart. And I just sat in the room by myself and banged through. I don't know what my first song was. They were the old folk songs, East Side,
Yeah.
West Side, all around the town, that sort of thing. And I would practice until my fingers were bruised. And it's so
Really?
funny because I read Eric Clapton's story, and that's what he did when he was a kid. And so I
Oh my
really
gosh.
resonated with his story because that's the way I was. When I got into something and I liked it, I mean, I just went,
You weren't
you know,
focused. Yeah.
yeah. Must
Yeah.
be that autism hyper focus,
The hyper focus. I mean, that's good and bad. Like for creatives, that's good and bad, right? Like you got to peel yourself out of it. But I feel like sometimes people have if they don't have that, they have a really hard time focusing and like sticking
Mm-hmm.
with it, right? So
Yeah.
then you move from guitar to harp.
Yeah, that was much later. I learned guitar when I was in high school. Well, actually, I wrote my first song when I was a kid. I had to climb on a chair to call my mom at work to try and sing her the song over the phone. And by the time I got her on the phone, I forgot the song and I
Oh no.
cried.
Oh, poor thing.
I cried. I
Oh,
felt so bad.
you must have been a funny kid to raise. That would be entertaining to have had you.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad for my mom that she didn't spend that much time with us. I wish
Yeah,
she'd asked me questions, really figured out
right.
who I was. I
Yeah.
think she would have really had a lot better time. I had so much fun with my kids,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
know they didn't really know to do that, like everyone was dealing with their own stuff. I don't know. My mom is early 50s, like in the early was born in the early 50s. So they're all dealing with like their parents' issues that they
That
never
well,
got figured out.
that's where I'm at. I'm 70.
Yeah. Are you really? Oh my gosh, you look
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Thank you. I'm a carnivore.
Oh my gosh, you look great.
Shout out for carnivore diet.
Oh yes, eat some beef, people. Get some iron in your bodies. Um, so I don't know. So you dealt with like what my mother dealt with what was like my grandmother. No one ever talked about their trauma. Like I mean, and
Yeah.
they had hard lives. They had hard childhoods, but you were just supposed to like, no, well.
Well, we were raised by the parents who read Dr. Spock, and so it was like, you
So
raise your,
true.
you raise yourself. That was my family. You raise yourself, you'll be fine, you know.
Get
And the
them
thing,
independence. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Well, it did. It
It
really
did.
did
Right.
cr-
That's true.
grow independence in us. I mean, by the time we moved to San Francisco, we had three boy cousins. We were three girls, and the six of us, we hiked all over San Francisco. We'd
Yeah,
hike
and there
from
was
where
never a
we lived
problem.
near Twin Peaks all the way to uh, Golden Gate Park.
Yeah.
We went everywhere, all over the city.
And they your parents only looked around when it was 10 o'clock and they said the
Where
television
are
said,
they?
oh, do you know where your kids are? Oh my gosh. But
So,
you're right. It made it motherhood a lot less pleasant, I think. Or maybe they just didn't that you don't know what you don't know, because kids are
Yeah.
fun. I feel
Hmm.
bad for even this generation, my generation of people are like, oh, I don't want kids. Like, why?
I
Why don't
know.
you?
They're so much fun. Oh my gosh. And my grandkids, they are so great. And I've got two granddaughters that want to write, and they're
Oh,
both good at it.
yeah.
And so they're both in high school. The oldest is 17, so she'll be graduating pretty soon.
Yeah.
And I'm
Isn't that
hoping to take her
crazy?
under my wing to get her down here and work
Yeah.
with her and help her to get her first book published.
Yes.
So,
How exciting to be part of that, right?
yeah.
Like,
And
I
if
don't
you don't
know.
have kids, then you don't have the grandkids. And you don't, my kids, they do plays. I mean, we're Jewish, so we had Hanukkah and we had, all those feasts and Purim. And so they do plays around the
Nice.
book of Esther and about the
Yes.
Hanukkah story and what happened. They'd make little plays, they'd do puppet shows. And with five
Yes.
of them, they all could do that together. They didn't, you have an only child, and
They're
what
just,
do they do, you
I
know?
know. I know.
So it was just so great. They'd pretend they were going on expeditions, and I'm
And
an
honestly,
archaeologist. Let's bury
you,
some bones in the backyard so we can dig them up, you
yes.
know?
Yes. And honestly, like, I have three, you have five, but I tell people, I mean, if you can, I do know some people who couldn't have more than one, but
Hmm.
if you can have more, like, it actually gets easier.
It
Like,
does.
and it's so funny to watch them. Mine are all girls. Yours are all girls. I don't know about you. My husband grew up with only boys.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
sometimes he's just like wide-eyed in between all of them. And they are, just they'll go from happy to arguing to laughing to, and he's just like having whiplash. I'm like, this is so funny, like this is great. They get
Yeah.
along, they're doing like they'll go off and do their thing. Sometimes we'll walk into the room and we'll know right away we're not really wanted. They're kind of like, we're doing our thing. Like, but that's so
Yeah.
wonderful. I think that's great.
We're doing our thing. That was kind of what happened when I wrote my first book.
Okay.
My three eldest decided to do the NaNoWriMo thing, the write a book in
Okay.
a month.
Yeah.
And so I thought, oh, that's great. I'm trying to encourage them. And I'm total musician here. At that time, I was still on the road and still touring all the time. And so it was like I didn't want to and then all of a sudden I got this incredible story idea. My great grandmother fled Pancho Villa. Her husband went over to Pancho Villa's side in Mexico, and he
Mm-hmm.
was abusive, and she fled from him and got on a boat to San Francisco with my Nana and her big brother Jorge. Her name was Antonia Sanchez, and so that's actually the protagonist in my first book. I thought, what would happen if I took her story and pushed it 100 years into the future? You
Well,
know,
that's an amazing story, first of all. Like, what an
Yeah,
amazing, like, strong woman.
exactly. So I was always fascinated by that. And
Yeah.
and so that idea came into my head, and I went, "Oh no," because
I'm going to trample on my kids.
I've always been an overachiever, and I didn't want to trample on their stuff. And they're such good, they come up with the greatest ideas,
Mm.
and they said, whatever, go ahead,
We know you're going to do it
go
anyway.
ahead, Ema, just write the book. And so me and my second oldest daughter were the only ones that finished our manuscript, and I was the only one that published.
Oh,
And
that's
then
great.
next thing you know, I've got two books published. The next thing you know, I've got three books
It's
published.
that hyper focus again. You
I
just keep
know.
going.
So,
So, what was it about science fiction that just pulled
well,
your
because
interest?
100 years in the future. So, at the beginning, she has a nightmare,
Okay.
and she wakes from that nightmare just shaken. And she tries to convince her family. She prays and goes, "What's going on, Lord? Is this from the enemy? You know, what am I supposed to do?" And she gets this really strong feeling that they need to stay home. Well, they've been planning for weeks to all go out today. It's Chinese New Year in San Francisco. That's a
Mm.
big deal there.
Okay.
And so she went downstairs, big our family argument. Nobody wanted to stay home. She runs upstairs really upset, ends up with a headache, decides, well, I'm just going to stay home. And she stays home alone. And then there's this horrific, there'd been an earthquake in Japan the was it the day before? It takes about 20, it takes a certain amount of hours. I studied all this before I wrote the book.
Yeah,
it takes
I
a
know.
certain amount of hours for that tsunami to actually hit the West Coast. And it's usually small.
Oh, that's a
It's
possibility?
never, no, they always do, but it's never more than a couple of feet
Oh, okay,
high.
okay.
The thing is it's really long. It goes from, it's this one giant long wave. Well, what happened, I had happen was then the Fairweather Fault in Alaska and now I'm forgetting the name of the Oregon one. Anyway, there's an offshore fault offshore of Oregon that has been needing to go off. They figured it's about every so many 100-year fault. Well, it's overdue at this point. So I made that go off. They all triggered each other, and it just went around the circle. And that triggered volcanism. It triggered the San Andreas and all the faults everything was just a mess. It's total disaster, right? So she loses her family.
Oof.
Her husband was on his way to see if she's better and pick her up for all the festivities. And he ends up having an accident and ends up brain injured. So she's stuck in ruined San Francisco, wondering what in the heck happened to her family, on the street weeping, with her husband. At this point, he's out cold, and she doesn't know what's going to happen with him. And they drag some stuff and create shelters, the group that ends up on this hill. And they pulled this potting shed out and rebuilt it. And she ends up in there with a mom with a new baby, and her and Pedro. So anyway, she ends up having another dream. She dreams of this incredible, beautiful world, just untouched. The trees are colorful. Everything's different, but clean and beautiful. There's streams and pools and springs everywhere. And she's just blown away by this dream. And God speaks to her and says, I'm going to bring you here, and you're going to find peace. And so from that point, she kind of tries to hold on to that dream, but she goes through hell. And so the rest of the story of this book is her going through that. And this is my second oldest daughter.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, and my son-in-law made this cover. He's a graphic artist.
Nice.
So anyway, that's what this book's about. And
that was the one you wrote during NaNoWriMo?
The one I wrote during NaNoWriMo was this thick. And it was in 3 parts. And actually, I have it up on the shelf. It was one of those like 6x8. So it was a bigger format. And it was still this thick.
Oh, my gosh.
And people were intimidated by it. And I was finding, I'm having trouble getting people to read this. They take one look at it and go, I'll never get through that,
Yeah.
So I went, what would happen if I divided it into 3 separate novels?
Okay.
And I started thinking about that and all the hassle it would be. And it was, and it has been. But I decided to take the jump and do it. And I have been so blessed doing it because I've been able to build the characters and their relationships more. I've been able to add new scenes. I've been able to, it's just, they're even better than, I got incredible reviews on that first book. I lost them all. That was one of the risks I took. When I had to unpublish it, I lost all my incredible reviews.
What was the name of it when it was big?
It was just The Dreamers. Oh, another thing I found out, I searched The Dreamers after the fact. There were like 500 books with Dreamers, The Dreamer in the title, and none of them were mine. And mine, I couldn't even find it in the deluge of Dreamer books.
Right. That is something to take into account when you're
I know, and I hadn't.
Yeah.
This one, I typed this title in, boom, that was the only thing that came up.
That was it. So was that part of the omnibook?
This was the first part. This was part 1.
That was the part of it.
It was called Earth because it's what happened on Earth.
Sure. But because it was a part of the, Okay.
And then book 2, I actually just put the ebook up on Amazon. It's called Training Ground.
Okay.
And it's when Antonia, she ends up on a ship heading north, just like my great grandma did,
Yeah.
going north to Oregon, fleeing her abusive husband because he's beat her a few times now, and now she's pregnant and she doesn't want to
Yeah.
deal with that. So she runs and ends up on the ship going to Oregon, and there are 3 other people that are passengers on board. It's like a cargo ship, but even nowadays, cargo ships will have a few cabins that they'll set aside where people can actually pay to be in the cabins and go
Oh,
places in the ship.
okay.
And so that's what they did. And the guy that saves her, that helps her to get on the ship, his name's Charlie Tang. He kind of plays the Good Samaritan part, gets her on the ship as she ends up in the back of his restaurant. He has a Chinese restaurant right there, and all the ships dock there, so that's where he gets his business. But anyway, he's the head of his family, the Tang clan. They're a Christian Chinese family. So
But
anyway,
this is still 100 years in the future.
yeah, it's all 100 years in the future. So he gets her on this ship, Scarlet Dragon, and she meets these 3 other people. They're headed to Oregon to a training ground to colonize a new world. And there's a doctor and his wife, and she starts talking about the planet and what it looks like. And Antonia says, wow, that's just like a dream I had. And, Margit goes, no, what dream did you have? And she tells her, and come to find out, they'd all had the same dream. And that's why
So
they're
they're going
there.
to a new planet.
And it's the training ground. And she realizes, I could make a new life for myself in Portland, or I could go to this training ground and start a new life on a new planet. And the book 2 is about her fears, the problems she has making a decision, what decision she makes, and how that changes everything. So that's the training ground. So that's book 2.
At first, that was all part of one book.
Yes. And then the 3rd one's going to be Terra Shalom.
Okay.
And it's basically about the planet.
Setting up
and about
planet.
them getting to the planet. And then the training ground is, they're all learning all the survival skills. So that book's fun. I got to use because I taught my girls survival skills as part of homeschool.
Yeah.
And so I got to use a lot of that knowledge in that one. I was always a science nerd. You were going to ask me earlier about science fiction for me. I read the whole science section of the children's library. That was part of my thing when I'd get my 10 books, At least half of those were from the science shelves.
You're so funny.
Well,
that's
crazy.
good for being a writer. It's like
exactly. You
can honestly tell these days when you read a book and somebody just sort of skimmed their research. They're just like the surface level. And it's the worst when you know something about a topic and the writer didn't bother. And you're just like, that's not how that works. That's not how this is.
And I have a good amount of encyclopedic knowledge because that was another thing I used to read when I was a kid.
I loved the encyclopedia.
It
was just a shame that it would be like obsolete.
Too. That's one thing we had in common.
I remember we bought a whole encyclopedia. I was so excited. It was like 88 or 87. Yeah. I mean, it becomes obsolete within like a year when the Berlin Wall falls. It's just like, okay, never mind.
But there's still so much knowledge in there.
Oh, there's a lot.
I was a knowledge hog. I loved knowing things.
I know. I remember when I was arguing with somebody about how it was illegal to be a communist in America, and they were like, not in 1995. I was like, oh, I guess I should update my encyclopedia. I should probably do that. So when did you publish this first book?
The very first book, I published it in 2020.
Okay. All right. So you did NaNoWriMo in 2019?
Well, no, 3 years before, because our income is really low because when we came off the road, we hadn't saved a lot of money. Mm-hmm. We had just enough to buy the acre that we live on. And so we're just getting Social Security, and it's very small because we spent years on the road in ministry.
Right.
So
and it
anyway,
costs quite a bit
I
to
had
publish.
no money to pay an editor.
Right.
So, I mean, I gave it to author friends. One author just loved it and didn't really give me any constructive criticism. The other one gave me a huge barrel of constructive criticism. Some of it I felt was going too far.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she was in a group that you never use was and you never use had and you never, you know, and it's like, what?
That's odd.
You know?
Those are
And
weird.
so, anyway, I was able to balance that because there were some
Okay.
books I got on writing too, which is really important also as an author. It's good to read other authors on writing. So I'd read a really good book that was nice. And then the NaNoWriMo, the guy who did that, his book was actually really fun too. Chris,
Okay.
I don't remember what his last name was. Chris something.
Yeah, they don't do NaNoWriMo anymore, so
No,
it
no.
got everything got too big. But so you basically spent a few years
I spent
learning
3
about
years.
story.
I wrote it in a month and then spent 3 years editing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Which can happen. But do
yeah.
you enjoy editing, or was that
Um,
painful?
it was really hard at the time when I got the really, you know, constructive criticism, which was actually really good. I had to rewrite the whole book, you know,
Oh.
which I was like,
I know that's the first
I don't want to
it's
do
the
that.
first feeling. There's like
But it was like, no. And then that perfectionist thing came in. It's like, no, this has to be good. I'm
yeah.
not gonna try and sell a book that isn't good. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I did that. I went back and I rewrote and I rewrote and I rewrote and I went through it and I went through it. And every time I went through it, I'd put it away for a couple of weeks. I'd put it away for a month. And then I'd rewrite and rewrite and rewrite. And when I very first wrote the book, I had two books within the one book, even not with it being the three-part, because I had it going bouncing back and forth between Antonia and a descendant of hers in the future on the planet. And I was
Oh.
bouncing back and forth between those, and I realized this is two different books.
Yeah.
And so that first thing I did was divide that. Then I got the
Okay.
book finished, and then I had to rewrite it, and then
Yeah.
edit
Edit. So at
for
what
three
point did
years.
you decide to actually to cut it up? Was it just because of the response from the readers?
Well, I'm not really good at marketing. That's something I'm learning now.
None of us are.
I know. So anyway,
Everyone listening is like you and me both,
yeah,
Shimrit.
that's why I got on Instagram. I have an author friend here, and her book is making her, you know, she showed me her income. It was like $860 something. I'm like, what?
Is that possible? Yeah.
If I made $300 a month, it would
Yeah.
make a huge impact on our lives, you know?
Yeah,
I gotta
marketing
do,
is a beast for
and
sure.
she said, you need to get on Instagram and you should probably get on TikTok, but start with one, you know? And she said, you need to
That's
do
right.
reels. She showed me some of her stuff, and I went, okay, all right. And she's really good at it. And I'm like, and then I'm feeling all small. I can never
Yeah,
do
I know.
this, you
You
know?
can. It's like anything. The more you do it, the more you'll find your spot.
And I
You
made my
know,
first little video, and it's kind of clunky, but it's up there. And I just made another one, and it's much better.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I
It'll
made
get
it right
better.
before we got on together. So
Nice.
yeah,
I
so I'm
mean,
going to be
and the
putting
thing
that
is,
up.
like, no one scrolls back to what you did last year. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So a year from now, you'll be better at it. And
Yeah.
but it is true. There are some people who just have that knack. They have that marketing creativity, and
Hmm.
some of us have to figure it out, you know. But I mean, we have to learn how to incorporate ourselves with the books, and people will want to be part of your world, you know. So
Hmm.
yeah, marketing's a lot, but but when people, I mean, I think one of the
Can you read that?
I love that.
That was a gift from my youngest sister. Our
It is
family had three
true.
girls. I grew up with two sisters. I
Oh
was the
goodness.
eldest. So
So you're all girls everywhere. So when you what how did you get that feedback from readers that it was too much, too long, I guess?
well, I was going to an embroidery meeting with my One of my daughters is living with us.
Mm-hmm.
They're about to move to Virginia. They just bought a house up there. But they were living with us, and we were going together. She wanted to go to embroidery, but she wanted me to go with her. And I thought, well, that might be kind of fun. You know, it's something I taught the girls. We had embroidery projects, and I taught them all kinds of stitches. And I thought, well, it might be fun to get back into that. So we went to embroidery, and it was during that I actually finally got the book published. It was kind of a year in to going to the embroidery. And so some of the people in the embroidery class bought the book and really liked it. And others saw their neighbors, they saw the book, they'd bring it. And it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
oh, I don't think so, you know. I've got one person going, oh my gosh, when's the next one coming out? I'm done. This is amazing. When's the next one
yeah.
coming out? And then I've got other people looking at it and going, I could never read that book.
Isn't that interesting? And
I
and
know.
you have to sort of figure out, what the right balance of it is.
Hmm.
Like should you change, should you not change it, and I I think in the end for you, like if you're able to cut it up into two, even though it is work, those who don't mind reading big books, well, they'll just keep reading the books,
Well, what I'm going to
right?
do is I'm going to put out the edition with the three books together in a
Mhm.
hardcover,
Yeah, yeah.
you
You
know,
have
and
an
make that if
omnibook, yeah.
somebody loves the books, let them get a hardcover with all three in it.
Right.
And that way they've got it forever, you know?
Yep, yep, they have them all together. Yeah, it's sort of working. I mean, yes, we have our creativity and we have our vision of how things are, but sometimes you have to adjust, to the market
Hmm.
and see. I mean, in the end, the goal is to get more people to read it. So if you can,
Yeah.
I mean, you can sometimes people write long and there's no way to cut it into two books,
Hmm.
right? So you're almost lucky that there's a way to divide that and have like a
Yeah. Well, it being
trilogy.
in three parts, I kept looking at it and going, the third one's going to be hard because it's when they got to the planet. And
Hmm.
as I read it, it's like it's really fun because the planet is really different. And Antonia actually goes through almost panic attacks at the beginning because everything is so foreign, and she has this unsettled feeling all the time. And anyway, so, but once she starts getting over that and they start getting into building and all that, I realized as it gets near the end, I was just trying to end the book, you
Yeah.
know. So I'm going to have to add some more, exciting things to that to get a third book out of
Yeah,
that
that is
third
a little
part.
bit different, right? If you're ending a big
Yeah,
book versus ending a separate like actual book. I mean, there are
yeah,
things to think about when you're separating a big book into separate stories. And I know there are some people I on TikTok, there are people always sort of commenting like, "Oh, my book is so long; it's 150,000 words." And there's a balance to that of telling people, well, you might be overwriting, like it just sort of depends on how much knowledge you know about story, or you might
right.
have to cut it up. But like you said, it is work. It is not just,
Hmm.
snap your fingers and figure out.
Right.
You might have to add, subtract, make better. Like
Yeah.
that is the point.
And then after I wrote the first book, there was this little side thing that happened in part. Is that going to be in? I think it's going to be in part three. Yeah, part two ends with her going into deep sleep for the journey, and
Okay.
then part three starts with them actually. They have wake times every 5 years to exercise. They've got electrostim, but it's not enough. They have to get up, move around, get their digestive going. They found that deep sleep 5 years is about it, and then you got to get up and move around. So that's the way I made it in the story. So it's just those breaks, and during one of those breaks, they find out that the last ship has taken off, but they found armed stowaways on the ship.
Oh
And
goodness.
so, first of all, they think it's a rover gang. Those are the city gangs that have started spreading out, that are in the ruined cities in California. And anyway, they deal with rovers throughout some of the different books. But anyway, then they find out no, it's this group of college kids, that just were sick of life on Earth, decided it would be a great adventure to stow away. And so I came up with this one, The
That's so fun.
Stowaways.
Nice.
And
So you kind of have like a shoot off of it.
yeah, and so this can actually stand alone. And The Stowaways, this is a heist novel. And that was one of the really fun things about writing this series, because the first one's like apocalyptic disaster,
Yeah.
and going through that and keeping faith through that and growing through that. And then the second one is growing through suddenly having to become community, being in each other's faces all the time, learning how to get along with other people. And then The Stowaways are Terra Nova's, or Terra Shalom, is almost like a fantasy, because the world is just so different.
Mm-hmm.
And then The Stowaways is a heist novel. And then in this one, the Flight of the Escargot, that's the ship they're on. This guy never, the other kids in the group end up realizing, God is real. So many things happen. I'm sorry, that kind of cut off.
That's all
So
right.
many things happened that made them realize this isn't just happening. There is a God. But this guy's a real holdout. He's like, no way, I'm not going to get into that, And he ends up falling in love with the AI on the ship.
Oh, you even incorporated AI.
Yes, and
Interesting.
so this one, he's their hacker. He's the one. Him and there's one other guy that were the main hackers that helped them to hack into the warehouse and hack into the cases so that they could stow away for that first couple of weeks. They could get far enough away from Earth, that when they got discovered, because they couldn't stay in the case, they'd die, that they wouldn't be able to send them back.
That's funny.
So
So
yeah,
how much research did you have to do for all of these?
I had to do a good amount, a good amount. The first book, the disaster one, I had to do research on earthquakes, on
Mm.
the different type of faults. San Andreas can never cause a tsunami. It will never happen because it's a slip fault. You have to have a subduction fault. So I
Interesting.
learned all about that.
Right.
Subduction fault or an offshore landslide are the
Right,
only
because
things that'll,
science fiction, you have to know this stuff. Like the
yeah,
readership of science fiction. I mean, of course, you'll have readers who just like to read a good story, right? But
yeah,
science
yeah, and they
fiction,
don't know
hardcore
and they don't
people need to
care.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a struggle for me, was not to get too deep into the science,
Oh,
because then
really?
a lot of readers get bored.
That's true. But
I
then if
don't
you
mind it, but
Crichton, like there are he goes real deep into how they made those dinosaurs. I
yeah,
believed it.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
believe.
and so it really kills me when Christian readers will go, "Oh, I don't like sci-fi. I want fantasy, or I want, a biography, or I want historical fiction, or,
Yeah,
I don't want to read your book because I don't like sci-fi." And I'm like,
that's funny.
it's about so much more than the science, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
their
Well, you got to
character,
ask them, like, do you like Star Wars? Do you like Star Trek? Like that is
uh-huh.
science fiction. Sometimes I don't know if people really know. So your audience is Christians
Yeah, mainly. I've
primarily.
had all different people read. I
Of
had one
course.
person when the big book was out, and it's one of the things one of the reviews I lost. And he said he wasn't a believer. It's a guy. He said he wasn't a believer, but he really appreciated it. He said the faith, it was just a cultural thing. It was part of their lives. It was who they were. I
Okay.
never felt preached to at all,
Well,
you
that's
know.
perfect. Yeah.
So my book could have a wide audience, but
Yeah.
I do cover some real
Yeah, your
issues
main your main
in
audience
the
would
book.
be
In this one,
right.
I cover abortion and why it's
Yeah.
wrong. You
Right.
know, and so I do cover issues in the book,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been able to incorporate it in a way where it's these are things that they're discussing. These are things they're coming to grips with.
Right.
These are things. So it's part of the story. It's not
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not a monologue where someone's preaching to somebody else.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the way to do it, honestly, no matter what you're trying to tackle. Because,
Hmm.
I mean, readers don't usually tend to like being preached at. That's not the point. They want to discover. along with
Yeah.
the characters. And that's, if they can discover along with them, that's really the best thing. But you mentioned that you lost reviews. If anyone's listening, um, and they might be confused about that, what did you have to do when you pulled the book to divide
When
it?
I unpublished book one and republished book two, the new book one, all the reviews just go away because it's a new book. It's
It's a new
considered a
book,
different
yeah.
book.
Right.
And so what I did, I have two reviews now. I gave out art copies. That's I'm saying copy twice there. Advanced reader copies.
Mm-hmm.
I gave out some of those, and
But
so I
that
have
is a hard
people.
decision, isn't it? I feel
Yeah,
like you work so hard for reviews and then you go, okay, I'm gonna, it's a big decision. It's probably the right one, but
it
it
was
is hard.
hard. It was
Yeah.
hard, but I kept those reviews. I actually copied and pasted them, so I do use them in advertising,
Right.
and so
Yeah.
they were helpful. It's not like I lost them completely, and I have them on my website.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kept them there.
Yeah. It's
So,
just a shame that you can't be like, please, whoever you are, come back and get my reviews. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So when does the third one publish?
Third one. At this point, I'm not sure. I am trying to. I'm wrestling with the cover on book two.
Okay.
My son-in-law made the cover for the ebook, and normally this one it's a starscape. So I have starscapes, and
Mm-hmm.
I blend them together. The
Right.
front cover with the starscape. Well, this book two is a training ground. It's Oregon forest.
Right.
Douglas fir.
Yeah.
And the way he colored it, I mean, it looks really cool. But the forest is almost in shades of blue because it's twilight and there's sunset. And so I had to figure out how in the world am I going to get blue forest scene and in the foreground, like this one has a background in the foreground. The foreground is
Right.
the ruined city with her
Right.
hair actually going through it. I asked him to try and do that, and he's so amazing. He did that. You get the city
Yeah.
before and behind. That's not easy to do, I know, because I worked with some of this stuff too, and it's hard. So I need to try and figure out how I got, and people denigrate AI, and AI is a whole nother skill.
Yeah,
You
it
have
is.
to know what to write in there,
Mm-hmm.
how to write in a way the AI understands you and will come up with what you need. So
Yeah.
writing the prompts is no picnic in the park.
No, it's not. Usually you need to have some graphic design background for it because just to understand the words. Otherwise you'll
Hmm.
end up with a mess. There's a
Yeah,
lot of things people just don't
they
understand
don't
about
know.
AI. So I don't know. That's one of those arguments that I just stay out of because there's no people just waste their energy on so many silly things that they're not going to
I
end up
know.
changing ever. It's
So
like
this back cover, I'm going to use AI to make a forest so I can get it to blend around and go all the way to the back
yeah.
because I don't like having the ebook cover and then having a solid color on the spine and the back. I just think that looks kind of chintzy,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
make it look epic.
Exactly. You got to use the tools that you have. Well, where
Yeah.
can people find you? You said you're on Instagram.
I'm on
Uh,
Instagram. Just
and
my
then
name, at Shimrit Haynes. My name's unusual enough that that's wonderful.
yeah.
So at Shimrit Haynes. I'm on X, but I'm not really doing a whole lot there right now. I'm on Facebook. I have Terra Colony Project Facebook page,
Okay.
and I usually put what's happening up there. But right now, I'm just getting really started. I just got finished publishing book two, and I'm really antsy to get into book three. And once I get that hyper focus into that, it's really hard for me to break away and do marketing.
You'll get it. You'll
So,
find your balance
yeah,
soon.
I've
Like
got a really, really good website. So,
yes.
shimrithaynes.com, real easy
Yeah, we
and
will have the link in the show notes, but it is
great.
for anyone listening, it's Shimrit Haynes, like the underwear
Yep, makes you
dot
feel good
com.
all under.
Well, thank you so much, Shimrit, for coming and talking with us. It was fun to have you on and hear all about your books.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it.